stuff, you know.
I think with management, you gotta have some type of reach. And if your artist's music isn't that popular, you gotta work a little harder. You know, you want to try to work on their brand if their brand is stronger than their music. You know, there might be more obstacles. You know, but you just have to know: is this a hot air balloon? I gotta steer it. If there's no air in the balloon, it's not going anywhere. And if you take on that challenge to try to make it happen, you got your work cut out for you.
In this room, we had quite a few people who raised their hands and said they are managers and working managers now.
I would say in terms of books, because there are reference books as well, but I would say you should read every book you can on successful people. You know, I've read books Quincy Jones, and I've read books on Russell Simmons, and I say I've learned so much from reading. I'm a big biography reader. I'm a big people do write stuff that's and it's not the same. Nothing's gonna trump experience. What happens when I read those books though is that it lets me know I'm not crazy. You know, I'm like, damn, am I the only one going through this? And you start to see the same patterns in successful people's lives and careers, and so you feel like, okay, that's inspirational. It's no different than coming to a panel, because you say, is there a panel you can go to that you can learn about management? Not really. We could just tell you our experiences, and they start to mirror yours. Everybody's life path is going to be different, but I would suggest that anybody that interests you, anybody that you think is really successful, whether it's
or Warren that you just Buffett, think is fly. Like whatever it is that you're interested in.
I guarantee you they got a book out. More about it. They got a book out, guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? And you might want to. So that would be more the kind of studying or kind of.
It's funny because I had a conversation with a manager one time about reading. It was random because I had my son in the studio. We were working on John Legend, and in this session it was John Legend, Kanye, Common, and my son was in the back of the studio reading a book. And the guy was like, oh man, that's cool, your son reads. He was like, hey man, what you reading? And it was some anime. He said, he told him. And he was like, man, you don't see what's going on here? He was like, yeah, everybody's working. So for him, he's like, they're doing shit. I got to work on me. So at least that's how I took it, because I think my son is smart like I am, so I just assumed that's what he was thinking. But to me, the point is, as a manager, the artist is always working. You got to be working too. Like, when they're in the studio, you can't just be sitting there rolling blunts. You should be trying to figure out what the next move is and how to get there.
Okay. So in this room, we had quite a few of y'all raise your hands to say that you are managers. A lot of you said that you were artists. So the question I have for you guys now is, what are two things that an artist should look for in a manager? And we can start with you, KB.
I probably would say the first thing, you want to make sure that your goals are similar. Like, you have to make sure you're aligned with people who have like-minded goals, and they have to understand their positioning in it. You have to make sure your manager knows that everybody has a position so that he can play it. Like, you shouldn't have your manager shouldn't be your hype man. Your manager shouldn't necessarily be, the person who goes to get the girls after the show. Your manager should be somebody who's thinking about how to get money for you and help you manage all the things that you bring to the table. That just means you have to bring things to the table, though.
Guy?
Yeah, integrity. I mean, I'm big on integrity, and if you keep hearing that this dude is shady, he's probably shady. So, it's just, I always say, if you find yourself in a room full of crackheads, you're probably a crackhead, right? So if everybody says this motherfucker's shady, then the motherfucker's shady. And, I don't know how you start off a relationship with someone that doesn't have integrity. And
or just understand, if you pick the shady person, you might be shady.
You might be shady too. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool.
So, but get that manager.
And then integrity and somebody that you see working. You know what I mean? Like, you see them working. Like they're not just hanging out and saying, yo, this is what I want to do. They actually are doing stuff, you know, there's actually stuff going on. And that's pretty easy to detect. You know what I mean? It's pretty easy to detect. You know, when I first was going on the road, way back with Audio 2, and I see Pops Nat used to manage them, and Nat would be like,
do.
no kid.
Yeah, that's him.
So I was just fucking 87. I was on the road, yeah, and I would see, you know, Nat Robinson working. He'd be doing business. You know, I'm watching, you know, them, you know, everybody running to get girls, like you said, do whatever they do, Showtime, whatever. I see the manager talking to the sound man, talking to the guy with the money, making sure it goes down, make sure everybody gets out safe, make sure you know, and I see him, you know, if you see somebody that's working and they got integrity, that's a good place to start.
Thank you.
I would like to say, taking it from the entry level, you're rapping, you're putting your stuff on SoundCloud, you got a manager from the entry level, he's got to be a go-getter. She has to be a go-getter. Back and get out there, be in the club, and they're not hanging out. They're working. They're networking. You know, someone who's not afraid to pick up the phone and call somebody. Once you get it rolling, you know, somebody that can get a meeting, who knows that you need a lawyer, knows that if the first check that comes in, we're not going to just cash it. We're going to start your company. You know, it's just somebody that can put a structure together for you. Once you have those things, and then you're going to submit maybe to a label or put it out yourself. You know, I have a guy who is putting his own record out in his own label, and we're going to try to make it happen. I shouldn't say try. I think we're going to make it happen. You know, and we're going to manage his situation, and at the end of the day, make sure that we don't stop until he feels successful. You know, so any artist who's going to get a manager, you get somebody that's going to work with you and make it happen. You know, because at the end of the day, as much as you don't want it to be personal, it's going to be personal. All right? Because if you can't help this manager pay his bills, you can't pay your bills. And at the end of the day, it's what it's about. You know, you get a manager and he's pulling off in his Porsche, and you're getting on the train or getting in a, you know, you're waiting for your man to come get you, you know, if something ain't right.
Unless that manager got that Porsche from someone else.
Well,
all right.
Well, I'm just saying from the entry level,
up, you know
what I mean?
And Super Mario, what about you? What would you recommend for an artist looking for a manager?
I would recommend that you make sure the manager, you know, have a list. Have a list that you can really just sit down with this and learn a little bit. It doesn't always have to be personal right off top. Because you're trying to, you know, it's almost like you're interviewing somebody for a job. Make sure that he knows or she knows something more about what you're trying to get into than you do. Somewhere, you know, they have to be up here in some type of level, you know, that can help you get to where you gotta go. Because if both of y'all are just right here and you're both learning on the job, you're gonna be stumbling over each other. You're gonna be, you know, you really can't help each other too much. He's still gonna, or she's gonna still have to go and get somebody to do a lot of things that you need done. So you might have been better off just going to them, you know, so.
We're going to take a couple questions, and one thing I wanted to, my advice also, in conjunction with all of theirs, is make sure your manager is a good communicator. They represent you. Their emails need to be in good English. They need to be spelled correctly. They need to be in good formats.
If they crip, they gotta make sure to put the K after the C. Like, that shit don't apply.
Does not apply.
My bad.
No, that's so true. Also, one of my favorite sayings is the money is always in the mailbox, right? The money is always in the inbox. Our money comes in email all the time. It does not come in text messages. I rarely get money in text messages. It's proper business done in proper formats, and people contacting you either through phone calls or your email inbox. I'm not doing a lot of business that results in money on text messages, right? Because that's, you know, do business properly. Represent yourself and your artist correctly. We can probably take 5 questions. If you have a statement, you can save the statements for after the things. Please ask an actual question. Go ahead.
My name is Dee Rivera, and I've been in the music for over 10 years, but I just started managing Slim Figure about 2 years ago. So I would consider myself an upcoming manager. What do you say to those people that as I'm working, they see my work, they enjoy what I'm doing up to this point, but right away it's like, hey, can you manage me too? And it's like, the way I feel is, have you even researched who I am? Have you seen what I've done for Slim Figure? Or do you really have an idea of what it takes and if I can get you there? I feel like sometimes artists don't do enough research.
Okay, so easily, you have to have a plan for yourself. What do you want? How many artists do you want to work with? What do you want to do? Just say no. No, thank you. Go. And, you know, you asked what an artist should look for in a manager. What a manager should look for in an artist is equally important, you know? And so if you see somebody that blows your mind, that's superbly talented, hard worker, then that's somebody you say, okay, I don't care if they did the research. If they're down or you think they're great, good they didn't do the research because it might have got you kicked out. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm saying that you got to make a decision about who you want to work with, what you are really capable of taking on. What's your capability? You can't have 50 artists if it's just you and you ain't got a team. You know what I mean? I have to say no a lot because I'm like, that's just a lot of work. And, you know, what is the scope of the artist? Where, you know, so, you know, you have to make those, don't worry about all the other stuff you said, don't worry about. What you worry about is artists do I have the time to take them on? I don't care if they did the research because artists are researching how to make a dope song, hopefully.
All right, thank you.
Frank Fortune, Power Brokers Management. Some of the people that have catapulted me to this point have been people that I didn't like, or I might not have liked what they had to say. You know, how important is it for an artist to like their manager or to have that kind of friendship there?
Well, I'll tell you this much. You don't have to like them to do business. If you got some respect for them and we can make some money, we can get busy. You know, it don't have to be personal. You know, if you don't like me, why you working with me? It might be something I can do for you. You know, so you get what you can get me out. You know, it works on both sides, the artist and the manager.
All right, we're gonna take another question.
Erica J, singer-songwriter at VA. For those artists that are still self-managed, what tips do you have for us to attract a good manager? Because I sometimes just get a lot of bullshit, to be honest with you. And somebody that's not necessarily smarter than me that can help me get to that next level. What tips would you have for the artists to do?
I think you just got to work on yourself first. You
I mean,
gotta make sure that your music is speaking volumes so you have the right people coming at you. You know, because if not, it doesn't, you know, somebody just might just be wanting to do something, you know, like it's really you as an artist first. Then you're going to get the right managers, you know, hearing it. It's going to go somewhere where it needs to go, period. But you just leave that. Sometimes you got to manage yourself because you got to answer questions. You got to, you know, you don't have anything to manage right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was about to say, you got, you know what it is? It's like any other relationship. Like, you attract what you are at a certain point. So you have to look at if something is happening repeatedly, you got to figure out what part is coming from you. So it's like you gotta be willing to take a real look at what you're selling, because again, a manager can only manage what you give them to do.
And we're gonna take 2 more questions, him and one other person.
Yeah, I'm Maurice Johnson. I'm a professor at Florida A&M University. So I teach hip-hop and mass media. So all the student artists, all the student student producers, like they all bring me their shit. And they be hot. Like I have like one, he do the gangster shit, but now he in school now. But his shit be jamming and that shit feels authentic. You know what I'm saying? Then I got the conscious group, whatever. I ain't no manager, but they always come to me and I just be, hello?
Yeah, you might. Yeah.
Well, I just fuck it.
Yeah.
But how can I like continue to nurture them? Like I always tell them little shit like you trying to reach this demographic, you trying to reach, maybe y'all should do like a show together, you know, brand your audiences together, you know, like, oh, he fuck with him, you know what I'm saying? Or I tell them little shit like take advantage of the fact you got this person from LA in your class or this person from New York in your class. They could potentially take your shit back to their city and get your shit popping. So like, what do I like tell them to, you feel me?
I mean, they can post something on YouTube and get it back before they get home. You know, so it's not like if it's hot and you're gonna put it out.
Well, here's the question. Here's the question. The thing is, you already answered your own question. Exactly what you said. You can advise them. If you don't want to become a manager, then you just advise them. And then I would say, as a person in the community, maybe locate some really great managers around that you could say, yo, this group is, you could be a farm system for the great managers. You'd be like, yo, I got some talent in this class. You know what I'm saying? If that's probably the best thing you could do, is find great people in your community that you can tell them to check these people out. And outside your community.
And especially though, if you honestly know you don't want to be a manager, it's the best thing because there are no football coaches in music. There are no high school football coaches.
Yes.
Like everybody got their story about who coached them through to get to that next level. And you can be there to do that for a bunch of people if you do it right.
Yeah.
We have one last question. We're out of battery on this microphone, so you're going to have to be loud.
Hey there, my name is Maury, and I manage an artist, and I don't have a background in that sense. I come from an oil and gas background, very corporate minded.
The same thing.
So I think that he saw that business acumen, and I have a brother who's a platinum recording artist, and he said, hey, I want you to manage me, and I had to think about it, and I said, sure, I'll do it. But I think that we bump heads a lot in the sense that, I approach it with that corporate mindset, and he thinks that I'm not in tune with the culture. And so I guess I feel like the skills are transferable, but how would you suggest, approaching management from that perspective?
That's a great question because I think that logic is logic and intelligence is intelligence. I think that from your side, you should make effort to learn the culture more, and to learn the ways that your skills are transferable, From his side, he should help you in that way. You know what I mean? Like, so it's way more important that he's in tune with the culture and says, okay, this idea you have doesn't work because culturally this is it. And so I think that as long as you guys can work in tandem, that it's fine. It could work because, like you said, you have a skill set that's a skill set, and it's just about adding the knowledge into that skill set. So you figure out, okay, how does this transfer? Or I don't know this. Find somebody who knows it and get the information. And but I think it could work. I don't think it's an unworkable situation at all. Everybody has to start somewhere, and it's better than just getting your boy off the block who doesn't know anything about business.
Yeah.
It's great to have somebody who knows about business, who has knows how to go to work and be there on time and show up and return calls and emails and do kind of the structural things. And I think the other things you can actually learn. Now, I think it goes back to what Mario was saying. Learn. Go learn some stuff. Go figure it out. Go figure out what he's saying you're missing. Go figure it out.
I think you need to go and find that out right now. I mean, just from you being from a business background, because you don't even know what you're working with. You don't know if he's good or not. You might just be, he might see you for something that you're not even looking at. So before you start going crazy over it and bumping heads and like, wait a minute, hold on, I don't do this, and I don't really listen to that. I don't know what you listen to. You might not listen to this type of music. But, you need to go find out, like, is this dude even really hot? Why am I arguing with this guy? He doesn't even have a shot.
I want to thank you all for attending our panel today. Thank you so much. My name is Satori. This is Kwan Prather, Guy Rute, Fat Gary Bond, and Super Mario Pizzini. Am I saying it right? We're all on social media. Look us up. The information is on the A3C website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.